We've been discussing in the previous rent review the amount of that is payable, but that's a net amount. It doesn't include outgoings. So what are outgoings? They're the bits and pieces that are charged each year over and above the rent. So you've got some examples here, such as local council rates. Who pays them? Landlord, the tenant, or maybe there's no rates I can't think of a place where there's no rates, but maybe it's not applicable. The default position, as you'll see, is tenant, because normally the tenant pays for all outgoings. So let's have a look. Water, drainage and sewage rates. Well, it might be the case that it's a 32-storey block of offices, in which case it's not a separate item, so you might put not applicable. Local council rates, well, I'll pay that as the landlord. No, I'm not. No way I'm going to pay that. You pay that. Land tax, that is a really big, expensive. The two taxes I cannot understand is payroll tax, which taxes employing people. And you wonder why the Labor governments would tolerate that. And then the land tax. It's just, I just find them outrageous. As a tax law, I just find those two taxes outrageous. So in this instance, the tenant will pay it. Now, obviously, if the landlord gets a bill for interest charges, well, we'll pass it on to the tenant. Obviously, if the tenant never got the bill, you'll have to pay for it. But if you've sent the bill to the tenant, they forget to pay, well, they're up for it. Water consumption beyond allowance. There's no water meter on the property. Oh, okay, fair enough. Just put not applicable. Fire services. Cleaning. So this might be common areas, or it might be you might want to have the garden clean if it's got a grass areas and things, so the tenant can pay that. Ground repairs, similar. Building repairs and maintenance, well, of a non-structural nature. So I'm not talking about capital here, although often the landlord will try and change capital items to repairs and maintenance. And the tenant will look very carefully on these outgoings, because they can be, at the tenant's request, asked for these tax invoices and receipts so that the tenant can check them. Building insurance, plate glass window, particularly on high-rise buildings. Property management fees. You will generally find that the landlord will not want to touch or concern the tenant directly, and will therefore employ a real estate agent to manage the property, in which case that is passed on to the tenant. What's that? You're going to deal with it directly. You're going to put not applicable. Don't do that. Don't do that. Leave it as tenant. And if you don't hire a property manager, then there's no bill. But if some point in the future the tenant causes a bit of strife, well, we don't want that. We've got a life to live, so we'll probably outsource it to a real estate agent, in which case at that point the tenant starts picking it up. That's your fault, Mr. Tenant, for being a bit naughty, causing trouble. Common area lighting, now obviously that's more for strata areas, so they'll pay their share of that. There might be a security guard that wanders around at night. We've got some of our law firm's offices have security guards 24 hours a day that wander around. Toilet facilities and what have you. A lot of our offices have showers and obviously toilet paper and what have you. Hot water running repairs, electricity, gas. Now the telephone system, electricity, gas and telephone services will be in the name of the tenant. So this would be not applicable. Oh, no, just leave it at the tenant. It will be, the electricity will be in the name of the tenant, because that goes to the occupier. Same with gas and telephone services. It's their bills. But, let's be protective of the landlord and just leave it with the tenant. Oh, Professor Davies, the tenant's bucking up on it. Okay, we'll make it not applicable then. I don't want to lose that battle. That's not a big battle. Air conditioning, lift running costs. There are no lifts. Well, okay, we'll just put not applicable if there's no lifts, if it's a ground floor or there's steps. Strata company levy fees. Now, this is different to your real estate agent fees that you're using to lease out your property. This is maybe you've got 16 offices, all owned by 16 different owners, and there's a strata manager, and they have company levy fees, or the tenant pays that. And again, if you'd like to add any more, then you just put them in there. I can't think of actually any policy guidelines. No idea what that is, but why not? And I'll have the tenant pay for that. So they're outgoings, payable by the tenant. Well, this now finishes the training course for the commercial lease. The next question is merely the reference, which is just the name of the document, and then you get the summary where you'll check everything and make sure everything's right. That rent amount, it should be here, there's that and the other. So you will check everything, and then when you're ready, you'll get to lock and build. And obviously I can't get to lock and build because I haven't completed these ones, but when I do, I get to lock and build, press lock and build, put in my credit card details, and within 2 minutes, the document will be prepared and emailed to you. So enjoy your commercial lease. I hope it goes well. If you do need to update it, just email the law firm and they'll show you how to update it for free until your beloved tenant is happy with it. Enjoy the free and wonderful resources of Legal Consolidated.